Good evening. It is time for today's Embracing Change. And today we are going to be talking about the news that came out, the leaked document about the Supreme Court's plans for Roe versus Wade. Now, I was not, I'm trying to make myself look younger. Somehow tipping the camera isn't going to help. This is way more serious than that. See, I wasn't planning on doing a video tonight, but from the time that I was in prayer this morning, and I heard the news, until now, I've just stirred. I need to talk to you guys about the Roe versus Wade issue. Not going to do the National Day calendar today, but I am going to talk about something else. Today, and forgive my mispronunciation, which will likely be the case, is Eid al-Fitr. Eid al-Fitr. It is the end of Ramadan. Now, in the Islamic faith, the Ramadan is a period of prayer and fasting. It is reflection on your past and your, for lack of a better word, sins. And maybe we might look at it, instead of condemning each other, looking at it as a missed opportunity to grow. We call that an AFGO, which is another freaking growth opportunity. Yep. And it is also a time of community. It is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. But that's not what we're going to be talking about today. But yeah, I would like to point out on how that reflects on our everyday lives. I think that it would do us all well to take time to look at our lives, to fast, which means to, stop focusing on the the joy of eating, which is something that I have to deal with on a daily basis, and community. Our communities seem to be falling apart. And what happened just now with the Supreme Court underscores that. But is it a horrible danger, or is it a spiritual opportunity? See, that's what we teach about crisis. Crisis is danger plus opportunity. So we have an opportunity, if we go through this, excuse me, and learn from it, to grow together and to help us in the process of reunification that we are praying for. So I'm going to tell you that please don't expect this tonight to be organized. It might not even make a lot of sense. You may have to think about it for a while and go back and watch it again, and because the thoughts were flowing to me, and they're coming to me today, lately, at a rate where I'm getting kind of spiritual direction, and some of it's kind of scary because I have to be able to speak my truth, and some of it is going outside of my comfort zone and trying to engage others in my belief that we are all one and we need to reunite. So tonight we're talking about the metaphysics of Roe versus Wade. You see, in Unity we teach life is consciousness. It is awareness. And please don't be upset or offended during our visit today if I ask you something that just might offend you, or pull a trigger, or push a button. Because I may. I don't know how long this is going to go on. My goal is always to stay within 30 minutes, but I don't know. I made this very long list of thoughts that were important for me to share, and I'm going to try to share just the most important ones and stay within my limit. But these are things I believe that it is time that we look at them, and we really need to know them. So what is Roe versus Wade? It is, in a nutshell, and let me put a little caveat here. I am not an expert in law or in the Roe v. Wade case. I only know what I know in my heart and my spirit and my soul and what I have researched and found online. So for that, I'm not speaking as an expert on the law regarding this at this time. But I am going to speak about consciousness. In Unity, we teach life is consciousness. What is consciousness? If you are a member of a particular political party, you may be upset with what I'm going to say. Trigger alert. Consciousness is being, there is no better word, woke. Consciousness is being awakened to the deeper causes and effects that we experience in our day-to-day lives. You see, one of the things we teach, and this is all, we're talking about law. You notice we're all talking about law. We're trying to interject too much religion into our civic law or our governmental law or federal law, and forgetting about spiritual law. Do you remember, oh God, this just occurred to me. You know, I think there's angels that whisper, my guides whisper into my ear as I'm talking. There was a woman who was brought to Jesus because she had been caught in the act of adultery. Okay? And they were preparing to stone her. And so they had their hands, their rocks all ready. And if I didn't tell you before, I actually, I had stones thrown at me when I went to Egypt because I foolishly wore a sundress, which is like taboo there. Not going to go there right now. Excuse me. But the lady was the woman was going to be stoned to death. That was the law. And Jesus thought about it, and he bent down, and it says that he drew in the sand with his finger. Kind of moved things around. What was he doing? I don't know, but I think he was talking to God. And he stood up, and he said, "For what crime is this woman accused?" And they said, adultery. She was caught in adultery. So what Jesus said next was pretty boggling. He said, okay, then let the one of you, the first of you, who has not sinned, throw the first stone. And so the men dropped their stones and walked away. And he said something very important to the woman. He said, go. She said, she looked around and she said, what's happening? And he said, where is anyone to condemn you? There's no one here to condemn you, so go. But he also said, go and sin no more. To sin no more means to learn from the experience what the error was that brought this whole thing about. And what was that? I don't know. I wasn't there. Okay? All right, I got a quick little naughty religious joke for you. So retelling the story of the people who were going to throw stones at the woman caught in adultery, and Jesus said, whoever, is without sin, cast the first stone, and that the people were dropping down their stones, and Jesus looked at his mother and said, drop the stone, Mom. She was without sin. But he did not see that woman should have been accused and stoned. The people thought they knew it. They knew the law. Edgar Cayce had an interesting take on this. He said that the real story, and Edgar Cayce was called the sleeping prophet. You can look him up. And what he would do, it's a long story, I don't want to go into it because I'm trying to finish somewhat on time tonight. And that he would go into a sleep state, a kind of a trance, and he would come out with these great revelations, and he would tell people about their past lives and about how to cure things, and he was very good. You can check out the ARE, which is the Association for Research and Enlightenment in Virginia Beach. They have all of his records there. Anyway, gosh, when I go off on these little toots, I have to figure out how to get back to where I was. Oh, yes. Edgar Cayce said that the way it really went down is that Jesus said, whichever one of you has not lain with her or laid with her, had sex with her, throw the first stone. And none of them could. Interesting take, right? I don't know. I wasn't there. But it's a ponderable thing. Because we teach in Unity, life is consciousness, we ask you to be conscious about this. And I want you to know I have not addressed one thing on my paper. But I think Spirit's guiding my talk tonight, not just me. Let me take a look at the paper. Tonight I want you to look at Roe v. Wade from different or a deeper perspective than we're used to. You see, we're looking at a very, very highly simplified view. Is it okay for a woman to abort a child that she is carrying? And that's where they're looking at it. Just is this okay? No. One of the commandments, says thou shalt not kill. It is not okay to kill. How many of those people who are saying that women should not have abortions because thou shalt not kill support gun rights? And it's not that they support gun rights. I'm for gun rights. People want a gun. Should be able to have a gun. But it's not working. What we're doing is not working because we have one of the highest gun violence records in the entire world. We're like there with Venezuela, which is considered like murder capital. We have mass murders every day. Look it up. Look at the gun violence archive. I think that's what it's called. Gun Violence Archive or something like that, .org. Well, isn't that kind of like disagreeing with thou shalt not kill with all the bloodshed that's caused by guns? So should all guns be banned and eliminated and taken out of people's hands? Whoa, you'll have a fight on your hands with that. But why are not the people who want to have guns trying to find a way to stop the people who misuse that right? Why are they not trying to do that? How is it okay that it's okay that someone kills here and it's not okay that someone kills there? Let he who is without sin cast the first stone? We got a lot of stone throwing going on, Well, that was a point. Okay, so I'm going to try. Okay, so what we're trying to do here is we're trying to create outer law to impose on people. Now, mind you, these same people that want their freedom as Americans, same people want to have gun rights and control who gets an abortion or why. You want to know what my take on abortion is? Buckle your seatbelt. I'm pro-life. And I am not an expert. And this is more tangled. It's like taking a ball of string and just, ratting it all up and then trying to figure it out. Because there is so much more. This is way oversimplified. Oh, hang on a minute. I just almost accidentally canceled myself. Woo, there we go. We are oversimplifying something that is very, very deep. There are, for me being pro-life, I don't believe that that abortion should be used as mindless, selfish birth control. Like that Britney Spears song, "Whoops, I did it again." No. But that's making the assumption that everyone that got pregnant was being mindless or selfish or whatever about it. There are people who had no intention of getting pregnant. They knew. Everybody knows how babies are made these days. Of course, if we don't watch it, they're going to take that out of school too. Maybe take it away from the parents. Anyway, God, I hate it when I go off track like that. Okay, so did you know that there are many states in the United States who offer opportunities for a rapist? Now, most people do not expect to get pregnant walking down the street one day when they are raped, or raped by someone through incest or anything else, and then they're pregnant. Okay? So that was not an intentional, unthinking, selfish, individual sexual act. But they're going to be held to, and now I just got back on track, okay? Yeah, what I was talking about was there are 30 states that have some allowances for a rapist to claim parental rights. And of those 30 states, 7 of them are pretty much guaranteeing that even if you were raped, your rapist can have, what do they call, parental rights with that child. So not only is a woman traumatized by being raped, then she has to share that product of that rape with the person who caused it, which I would imagine would mean that they are traumatized every time they see that person. There is much more than that. There are people who very naively think that having a baby will create a relationship. And nothing could be further from the truth. And it's a terrible place to find yourself in. Because so often when a woman is told, tells her boyfriend, her significant other or whatever, whenever they tell them they're pregnant, a lot of times they're like, "Oh, you better get an abortion, or you better get out of here," or they just leave. See, the reason, what we want to look at is cause and effect, okay? We may say we know the cause of pregnancy, wanted or unwanted, right? Do you know the cost? You know how people get it, You may think so, but you do not. Because behind the physical is the mental, emotional, psychological, and spiritual I'm not going to say spiritual because our spiritual self is perfect. I didn't mean that. Our body, mind, soul kind of thing going on there. It is being in a state of mind where you're not in your right mind and you wind up pregnant. Believe me, I've talked to lots and lots of people about these things. I do spiritual counseling, and you know what? I ain't so perfect either. I am willing to tell you there were times I made mistakes, and that by the grace of God, I came out of it okay. Don't go thinking, you're so perfect. And don't go pointing fingers at someone else because they wound up in a bad position. We cannot just say, yes, abortions are okay, no abortion. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. It was a fire down the street. I don't know much more than that, except it was probably like a quarter of a mile from here, so, and then down a side street. So we're going to pray knowing that whatever the fire was, we know that all will be well and the people will be well. That's why we have to treasure every moment of every day. We never know when something can change everything. And that brings us back to today and to our message regarding Roe versus Wade and unexpected pregnancies, which are sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. And right now we're looking at the case where it would be, in the opinion of anyone, it would be worse. Now, it's important that we know that you cannot force morality. That morality comes from within. It is always within us. But sometimes in our growth, in our experiences in life, we do make bad decisions. And as Jesus said, let the one who hasn't had made any bad decisions be the first one to throw stones at anyone else for their life or their choices. See, everything, we like it to be simple, but it's just not. Sometimes it's simple, but it's not easy. And that what is it between simple and easy that makes it not work? I think that's our personal wants, needs, desires, real or perceived. So where one person may feel that they could not have their life if they brought a child into the world at this time, and someone else might feel that, if only they had it. We can't make someone else's decision. Each person is individually responsible for looking into their heart and their soul and making a good decision. Now, on the other hand, if a person can make a better decision through critical thinking, how much we talk about critical thinking, knowing, weighing, and balancing the facts, the outcomes, the perceived outcomes from a very, I would like to say, unemotional point of view, because our emotions can get in trouble. If we don't If we don't address our emotions, we're in trouble. If we make all our decisions based on our emotions, we're in trouble. So I'm just putting that out there for you, that this is not really our decision to make, nor is it the state's decision, because I just so happened to have something pop up when I was getting back online, and it was a thing about, about the rights and everything, and the ability to make decisions, and what do the states know that is better? Because that's a part of the plan. What's a part of that written thing is they're going to take it and they're going to put it back to the state. Well, I got to tell you something. In July, I know I tell you this all the time. Maybe I'm looking for a present. I don't know. My birthday is July 3rd, and I will turn 76. I was around before Roe v. Wade. I was around in the days when many young women died because they tried to give themselves an abortion, or they went to someone who didn't know what they were doing to get an abortion. They went down dark alleys and into dirty places with dirty people handling dirty utensils or tools or instruments, and they died. So this is way too important to just put a rubber stamp on it and say this is the way it is for everyone. Each person has to work with their own decisions, which are educated. If we are smart, they are educated. Options are provided. Yes, I am pro-life, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to say that someone that has a tubular pregnancy, is that what they call it, that they should just go ahead and die. That's not mine to do. I'm not one that if someone has a child that is going to be imperfect, that I should say whether or not that person should give birth or abort a child. That's not my thing. When does life begin? Here's a real tricky one. This I'll give you something to think about. Jesus taught us life is eternal. When did it begin? When God began? They just found some I don't know what you call those things, fossils, 63 million years old. I don't think people were around then. But life, we are told, is eternal, and science supports that. So does that mean life is eternal so we can just get rid of an unwanted pregnancy? It's not mine to decide. What about the people that had troubled pregnancies? They were told the baby was going to die. They had that baby. They loved it and cared for it. And it became a fantastic, fabulous person who did amazing things to change the world for the better. It's all about drawing lines. It's about karma. It's about, what are we supposed to learn from this? And that is the main point we're missing. What are we supposed to learn from this? I don't have the answers for you. I have my answers, and I know how I feel. So, is abortion wrong, or is abortion right? And what is the answer? Yes and no. There are times that one decision is right, and there are times another decision is right. And that's another reason why we really want to be connected to spirit. What good is it to save a child from abortion if they will not have what they need once they are born? Will they be born into horrible poverty or abusive parents? or people who don't know, God bless them, what they're doing? Is that better? Is our government ready to stand up and say, okay, we'll take care of these kids? We'll make sure they find good homes. We'll make sure they're taken care of. We'll make sure their parents will be able to take care of them. Can they say that? We can't even make sense about student debt. See, everything is like this. It has to be weighed out in our heart, our mind, our spirit. This is why connection with God, taking time to pray and to meditate and to be aligned with divine energy. In my book, the Rise of the False Gods, I talk about the 4 quadrants of consciousness. We kind of live here, but we want to move up here. We want to move to intuitive sensing, to understanding and knowing what the plan is and how to live it. Right now, we're also human beings. We are human beings, spiritual beings having a human experience. So a part of this whole abortion issue is a spiritual experience. And sometimes it may go one way and sometimes it may go the other, but it's not someone else to tell us. What we try to do is to live well, to study the things that we believe, the spiritual principles, to be responsible and have integrity. And if someone is not to just condemn them right off, that's really important. Every child that's born is entitled to a real life on a planet that is healthy and growing and being taken care of. Spend life on a planet where the governments can get along, where the parties within a single country can get along, where we can create a world where we don't have to bring children in the world to be shot by a kid with an AR-15 in a schoolroom, and kindergartens and teachers, and we don't want that. Don't we have enough to work on without condemning people for making one of life's most difficult decisions? Have you ever had an abortion? I haven't. I can't imagine it. But I know people who have. And it wasn't easy. For some who were unconscious, they did what they had to do, and they got out, and a lot of them got pregnant and saw that as a solution again. Are they learning their spiritual lesson? No. Will us forcing them not to be able to have that abortion going to change them learning their lesson? No. Change comes from within. Okay, there's one other thing that's really, really bothering me about this. For all these things, men's responsibility is not being addressed. It's not even freaking mentioned. Pardon that little glitch. It's not even mentioned. What are the penalties for someone who gets someone pregnant out of wedlock? What are those penalties? You know what I'd love to do? I'd love to talk to those Supreme Court justices under oath. And I'd like to say, which one of you has had intimate relations with someone they were not married or committed to? Which one of you has had unprotected sex? Anyone had an abortion? Anyone caused someone else to have an abortion? Worth thinking about. Remember, you're under oath. Because under oath, most of us, we got our stuff. Doesn't matter that we got stuff. It's a matter that we don't hold other people accountable for our stuff. Or point to them and say they got stuff when we got our own stuff. Jesus had that one too. He says, how can you help a guy who's got a telephone pole in his eye? Oh, no. Sorry about that. How can you help a guy who's got a splinter in his eye when you got a telephone pole in your own eye? First you get the telephone pole out of your own eye, then you can help the guy with the splinter. So you take care of your own error thoughts, you take care of your own mistakes, you take care of your own stuff before you tell someone else how to do it. You can't just make arbitrary decisions without critical thinking. And that's what's happening here. They're not looking at the big picture. We have to move from microvision to macrovision. We got to look at the big picture and always get to cause. We have to get to cause, because if we don't change cause, we are going to keep creating the same effects and more suffering. Men need to be accountable for the children that they bring forth in this world, the seeds that they plant, might I say. So yeah, sure, let's say that you can't have abortion, and so then let's make a really bad penalty for those who cause someone to be impregnated, especially if it's against their will. I saw something I want to share with you real quick. I'm going to flip to my other screen for a minute. I found this on Facebook while I was on my telephone waiting for the power to come back. Okay, it says, stop abortion at the source. Vasectomies are reversible. Make every young man have one. When he's deemed financially and emotionally fit to be a father, it will be reversed. What's that? Did the idea of regulating a man's body make you uncomfortable? Then mind your effing business. Good point, eh? So, I could go on and on and on, but I'm not going to, because I probably put you to sleep already. Try to think about wearing another man's moccasins, because there's that thing. Native American, indigenous person of this continent saying, do not judge another man till you've walked in a mile in his moccasins. And do not judge another woman until you've walked a mile in her moccasins. We don't know what it's like. So I hope you were able to make some sense of that. Pardon again for the break in the middle of it all. I'm going to go to YouTube and fix that. So if you want to watch it in its entirety, you can go to YouTube and find me at Alicia Leslie, Mundane Mystic, looking for the spiritual principles behind our everyday experience, looking for the causes of the effects in our lives. For example, Roe v. Wade. And don't forget, it is very important to get out there and vote. Make sure not only to vote, but to encourage others to vote as well. Vote your conscience. God bless you.